DeathsStalker here. Another very cold autumn or slash fall day, but the sun is out, the roads are dry, so I'm out for a little ride. Now, a couple days ago, I was watching a video from Spicy110, put his YouTube channel up here, and I'll leave a link down for it. And he had a video where he gets asked lots of times about what's the best motorcycle for me, and of course me being the person asking the question. And he goes on to explain what makes a good motorcycle, and you know, talking about the various things for like new people to motorcycling about. And it's actually a very interesting video, but part of the way through the video he happened to mention about, you know, the motorcycle he loves, which of course is his Suzuki DRZ or DRZ, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and explaining how some people will have a, you know, a love or a fond memories of their first motorcycle, unless of course the motorcycle is a total pile of dog, you know what, where of course you'll just remember it as a horrible bike. And it got me thinking, and back to my first motorcycle, which of course is my 83 750 Interceptor, and I really liked that bike. Like, I mean, I really liked it, but you know what, I never loved it. Like, the next season I replaced it with a 1000 Interceptor, which I liked more, but didn't love it either. And when I thought about it really hard, now just for the record, my RC51, definitely love it, no question about it. But you know, back in the 80s, the bike I probably loved the most, and definitely loved, this wasn't a case of like, you know, or tolerate or whatever. This was a bike I loved riding, and that would have been my 85 Kawasaki KLR 600. And you know, very similar to the Spicy's you know, DRZ, you know, it's a 600 4-stroke. Now his was actually set up like his actually is a super motor, Supermoto bike, which is like a dirt bike set up for riding on the road. The KLR I had was what was called a dual purpose bike, which basically meant it had crappy tires for the dirt and crappy tires for the pavement. You know, it was like one of those bikes that didn't really do anything well. It did everything okay, which actually Spicy talks about. But of course, I actually modified that bike into what would be a Supermoto at the time, and I always kid that was Supermoto number 1, because I did it before you could actually buy them from the factory. In fact, that's the bike I actually used to get my racing license, which got me into 250s. But that was also the bike I drove to work every day. I drove it as long as I could. Like, right now we're at the very end of October as I'm recording this, and my knees are starting to freeze. Like, I probably should have put my leather pants on, but I rode the KLR one time to the second week of December, because we hadn't had snow yet, and I rode it as soon as the roads were clear enough to ride. Absolutely loved it. It had tons of faults. If you tried to drive it faster than about 120 kilometers an hour, it would actually weave. It had to do with the tires at the time. If you don't know what weaving is, it's when you're driving in a straight line and the bike just sort of does this, and it just basically is letting you know that it's going to get into a tank slapper if you don't back it off. And it really, any faster than 80 kilometers an hour, which is like 50 miles an hour, it wasn't happy. It was working hard. Now, anybody who's got a KLR 650 would say, well, they do that, but this was a 600. Those 50 cc's made a world of difference. And it had great brakes, but those only because I put them on. We were running a a front disc brake off a KZ1000 street bike. And I took my my girlfriend, who later became my wife, for her first ride with me on the back of that bike. Had a flat tire, and with her on the back, by the way, too. A different ride. Didn't crash, just coasted off to the stop. But just tons of great memories, and like even today, I still miss that bike. Now, when I moved to where we live now, the commute to work required highway driving, which is not a great thing to do on a bike that's at that time was terrible for highways. To put it in perspective, you know, our highway speed limit in Ontario is 100 kilometers an hour, and generally, in most cases, if the speed limit's 100, you better be doing at least 120 to 125 just to keep up with traffic. Yeah, the speed limit might be what they say it is, but Canadians generally don't follow it. So a bike that really doesn't like going faster than 80 was not an interesting thing to be riding on our highways. But it was awesome for exploring the back roads. I spent days off. I just, you know, I'd go like, oh, what's down here? And I'd follow that road down to the end. And that's basically how I got to explore the whole area on my KLR. And you know, it was a lot of fun. Now, sadly, I had to sell it because I couldn't use it to commute anymore, and you know, paying a mortgage and whatnot, and the insurance rates in Canada or Ontario, if you know, are horrid. So having multiple motorcycles is really expensive. So I had to let it go, and I replaced it with another bike, NT650 Hawk, which, you know, I liked. It was a nice bike, and you know, when I saw the RC51, that was love at first sight. And I actually sold the KLR to my best friend's younger brother, who then took it to Calgary because that's where he went to work, and he kept it for a whole whack of years. And you know, he eventually handed it off to someone else. But that's a bike, you know, if there was a way I could get it back, I probably would, because I just thoroughly enjoyed it. So I got a question for you if you're watching this. Is there any bike that you love? You know, might not have been the fastest, might not have been the prettiest. And let me know in the comments, or do a video yourself. And check out Spicy. I'm leaving a link for his channel. He's trying to get himself to 100,000 subscribers, and definitely deserves it. Puts out videos 3-4 times a week. Anyways, I'm gonna go out and enjoy this weather a little more. DeathsStalker signing off.